Doubt not your king. Salvation is at hand. In death, salvation. I have business to attend to. Fight on in my name.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Garen today and we are going to try out the new one-shot build where you just go full crit, and then we are also using first strike as our keystone. Now this build actually has really low counterplay because you're gonna one-shot people right after you silence them, so they are not able to use any movement abilities or summoner spells. So the reason we are using first strike, guys, is because it does add to that extra damage that we're going to deal, and it also gives us a lot of gold. But it is not an early game keystone, and when you play against something like a Malphite, he's just going to take it out every single time with his Q, but we are not using this for the laning phase, so we don't really care. You want to play aggressive with this champ, so we have Ignite. So when you have level 2 guys and you're playing against someone who's walking up to see us, get one auto attack in, get Q in, and then E spin on them. Even better, of course, if you can proc the first strike, but that is not something you can expect against champions like the Malphite. But this is going to be a full crit build. So in the later stages of the game, guys, you're just gonna one-shot every single squishy target in the game. Even some bruisers, you're just gonna straight up blow them up, guys. Like, there is almost no counterplay, and it's really fun to use as well. It's not a troll build because there's a Garen one trick known for using this build. I think he's like Grandmaster or something right now on the NA server, and he's the one who uses this, and now it's slowly becoming more popular because it fixes Garen's main weakness. So he's pretty easy to kite, right? And when you scale force, you get that extra gap closer, and people do not expect that. And how you want to use that Gale Force is that you just combine it with your Q. You just use it as an extra gap closer. You don't use it to finish the target off with the active, but just as a gap closer. And of course we are using Ignite because that does give us some kill pressure. We do want to snowball. You don't want to like go even. You want to snowball, and Ignite of course helps with that. We also had the Graves come in here, so that's a pretty free 2 kills for us here, so we can start the snowballing process. We also start with the Drone Shield, because that is like a core starting item, because you'll get poked down a lot. Especially when you play against something like a Malphite, like this guy has Arcane Comet, he also has the Corrupting Potion. So it's obvious that he's just trying to poke us down over and over, and that's where that Drone Shield really comes in. And then you can also use Second Wind if you want to. I'm using Bone Plating, but both are fine. So the first item, you want to get the Gale Force. As I said, this is a full crit build. As soon as you get the items you need, you just look for kills all the time. You can invade the enemy jungle, look for the jungler, one-shot him as soon as you silence him, and he will not be able to do anything. You just want to be as annoying as possible. Also use that Q back to lane, guys. It gives you a short burst of movement speed, so while you're walking back from base to lane, then use that so you get back to lane a bit faster. Maybe it can help you get that minion you would otherwise lose. But yeah, remember to do that, and also your W. Of course, that damage reduction, try to save it for when they use something with really high damage, like one of the main damaging abilities. But you can see this Malphite, pretty difficult to deal with champions like these because they can just Q you and then run away. The thing is, your Q removes slows, right? So you can use your Q after you used his, because then you get rid of their slow, but it's really hard to like catch him. So what you can do is that you just show the wave. Like, you have way better wave clear. Like when you get your crit items, your E is just gonna one-shot the entire wave, like one E. Now we got that ultimate up, so normally this is the point where you start looking for kills, because that ultimate is so good for executing targets to make sure they don't get away. But against something like a Malphite, once again, it can be difficult because he's just gonna stay back and then perma poke you. But the thing is, this guy is not farming. He's only spamming Q on us, so we just have to show in the wave, and then we can roam if we want to. We can also walk into the river, take away the Skull Crab. we have a lot of options because we have prio. But I'm telling you guys, this build is insanely fun. Like, it's really fun to use, guys. I can highly recommend that you try it out because it does solve Garen's main weakness. And because you have so much damage, like in the mid game and onwards, you don't even need your ultimate. Like a Q and an E is going to kill off the enemy AD carry or the squishy support. It feels a lot like the old crit Garen in the first couple of seasons. Because this is exactly what he did. But the difference here is that there was no Gale Force. He did not have that extra gap closer. So even though a lot of people probably tried out the crit Garen back then, it is not the same. Like, it's way better right now because you have that extra gap closer. So you have flash and then you also have the Gale Force, and that really does make a big difference. So we still don't have enough gold for the Gale Force, but that's completely fine. We also have free boots, guys, and that kind of helps you scale up faster because you don't have to use that 300 gold. Since you don't have to spend it on the boots, you can spend it on other items. So it basically means that you get to buy your core items faster, giving you more damage, meaning much higher chances of you finding those kills and then snowballing. But the original strat here is that as soon as you get the Gale Force, you just camp in the bushes because you have insane gap closing range because of that Gale Force, and also when you have your flash up. And the thing is, you want to use Gale Force with your Q really fast, because if you do so, you're going to silence somebody, and even if they have flash up, they will not be able to use it in time because they're gonna die. And even though First Strike doesn't have that great synergy with your E, guys, it doesn't matter. Because in the mid game, when you have so much damage on your Q, your auto attacks and your ultimate, you'll be able to use all of that before your First Strike expires. So every single time you get a kill, you're going to get so much gold. Because you'll be able to execute that combo really fast, and that's going to give you so much gold with that First Strike. And of course, it's also not only for the gold, but also that bonus damage. That's also really important. So this is a really good keystone to use, but if you're not having that much success with it, then Conqueror is also an option. The reason that a lot of people don't use Conqueror, especially with this build here, like you do it with the normal Bruiser Garen, the difference here is the fact that you one-shot people with crit Garen. You're not going to be in extended fights where Conqueror becomes really strong. You just look to one-shot people, you know, like an assassin, just like we did right here. So we don't get to benefit a lot from the Conqueror. First Strike is a lot more effective because we get that bonus damage and also that gold. So we started popping off here, sitting on 3 kills, and we also can get the Gale Force as soon as we recall here. Remember, your wave clear is absolutely insane, so if you're not able to find kills top lane, guys, just show in the wave. Just look at how fast your E is going to clear out the entire wave. Like, this is such a simple champ, like there are absolutely no difficult mechanics on him, guys. Anyone can pick him up and do well on him. And despite being a very simple champ, using this build actually makes him pretty fun to play. I don't like the normal Bruiser build, but if I play Garen, then I will definitely use this crit version. There's a gang coming in top lane. This Hamumu really looking to shut us down. What's really nice here is that you can go for a lot of trades and then you can just stay back and you're gonna heal up with a passive. So it's really hard to punish Garen in the lane because he can just AFK at the tower and then he's gonna heal back up and you won't be able to poke him as much. And then that anti-slow he has on his Q as well. So even if you have champions with slows, then he can also cleanse those, making it even harder for people to escape. So the enemy team right here, guys, has 3 tanks. Now that's kind of not optimal when you want to play this build. Of course you want squishy targets because one-shotting is your number 1 goal. But the build doesn't really change, because you have the Gale Force now, and then the next item is always going to be the Lord Dominic's. That's gonna give you increased damage and armor pin as well, and it's good against every single target. Also keep in mind that you don't buy any HP with this build. You're not playing Bruiser Garen, you're playing an assassin. Very squishy, but also insane amount of damage. No matter which AD carry you catch out in the late game, they're gonna get one shot. It doesn't matter if they have armor, guys, because you do have that armor pen. And you also benefit a lot against tankier targets because you don't build any HP. So Lord Dominic's is gonna become insanely good. And this is something you want to build every single game top lane. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Always Gale Force, Berserkers, and then into Lord Dominic's, and then you get the Infinity Edge. Just look at that insane damage. This is what you can do with the crit version, but it's going to become even better. Like normally when you use the Gale Force, of course you want to combine it with your Q, but right here you can also do it with the ultimate. But like the point here is that your Q silences, so as long as you are able to get a Q off onto the opponent, they will not escape. And also, probably most of you know it by now, but Q is an auto attack reset, so always like try to get one auto attack off and then into a Q. That's super important in the early game. In the mid to late game, you're gonna one-shot most people anyway, so don't do that because you don't want to waste any time. Even that split second it takes to get that auto attack into reset off, don't do that. You just want to Gale Force, Q, Gale Force, E, and then you can cancel the E to finish them off with the ultimate. You can see this guy was not going to escape, so he just gave up in life. It is very tilting to play against, I'm not gonna lie guys. Especially if he gets fed. And if you play in lower elos, you should be able to pick up a lot of kills because people don't know how to play against it. They are not used to the Gale Force gap closing. Like even though they see you do it like once or twice, for some reason they still don't respect it. It's the same in low elo and high elo as well. And because of that reason, you'll be able to pick up so many free kills, guys. I really highly recommend that you try it out if you play top lane and you're looking for a new champ. And a new champ that isn't just a tank, but you want to play a carry. Then I can definitely recommend Crit Garen. Like this is a mix of assassin and crit build. Really fun to use as well. And then we are building into the Lord Dominic's. As I said, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Lord Dominic's is always going to come after the Gale Force and the Berserkers. And then you can get the Infinity Edge. You don't want to get it earlier than that because then you don't have enough crit for the passive. Look at this wave clear. One E is going to clear out the entire wave, guys, so you can already tell it's a bit broken because there's no champion in the top lane who can do this. So if you're not able to find kills, just one E, the wave is gone, and then you just roam. And while you're roaming, invading the enemy jungler or ganking mid lane, the enemy top laner is gonna be stuck at their tower, trying to last hit minions, so that is really going to tilt a lot of people. Because roaming is really OP in solo queue, and that's like the best way to climb as well. So now we have enough gold for the Lord Dominic's. That is the armor pin item. And since we also don't build any HP, we're gonna build a Death Stance as the last item if you don't need the anti-healing. But since we don't build any HP, that is really going to give us a lot of damage. So now we have the Lord Dominic's. Next item is going to be the Infinity Edge. As I said early on, you don't want to build Infinity Edge before the Lord Dominic's because you will not have enough crit. Now that you do have it, you can go for it, and that is really going to give you insane amount of damage. So you can either split push or you can group. Thing is, you don't have teleport. You play with Ignite because you want the kill pressure. So grouping can be a great idea most of the time. But you want to be camping a lot. That's like the entire point of this playstyle, is that you want somebody to come and face check. And even though they're not completely walking into the bush, you just want them to be close enough so you can like Gale Force, Q on top of them and then one-shot them. That's like the entire point of this playstyle, so that's what you want to try to do a lot. Like, it can be a really good idea to camp in bushes where you think that people will definitely come. For example, if there's a big wave in the top lane with a cannon minion, then somebody's definitely going to come and farm it. Or maybe you can camp in front of the blue buff, wait for the enemy jungle to come. It doesn't matter who it is. If it's a squishy target, guys, you're gonna one-shot them. Like, there's zero counterplay if you hit that Q. And normally the problem is being able to hit that Q. But that's not a problem anymore when you have the Gale Force, because you have that extra gap closer. So even if you flash and they also use flash to get away, you still have the Gale Force, so you can get right on top of them, hit them with a silence so they're not able to react. A short E into the ultimate and they should be dead. And just a single E cleared out that entire Raptor camp. Their clearing speed is also absolutely insane. You can see you're just gonna absolutely shred the tanks with that E. And that armor pen as well. That's why Lord Dominic's is so important. Make sure that you buy it no matter what. You want to get it right after the boots. And because you do have a lot of AD, you also get to take down objectives a lot faster. We will also build a Sheen later on, guys. That's also going to make it better for split pushing, but it also makes you do a lot more burst damage. One auto tag into the Q. At this point in the game, it's mostly important when pushing for objectives. When you go for the bursting, like this right here, you don't care about that auto tag reset. But this really shows the insane amount of damage that you're able to get with this playstyle and this build on Garen. There are some people using it, but it's still pretty somewhat new because it's not meta. And instead of playing a bruiser, you're going to play an assassin and a carry pretty much in one. And it's always fun to see people getting one shot. Like, it never gets old, so I can highly recommend that you try it out, and it's pretty easy to execute as well. Like, the only thing here is that you combine Gale Force with the Q. No matter who you hit, as long as it's a squishy target, they're gonna die. And we're gonna get the Sheen now. That is going to build into the Essence Reaver. You don't care about the mana part of the Essence Reaver, you have it for the damage. And also the Sheen part, which works with your Q, meaning that you get even more burst damage. And then of course you also get ability haste and crit as well, so that's only a big bonus. You're going to absolutely shred everything, including the Baron. So you can keep split pushing or you can group. It really depends on the team composition. If your teammates are getting caught a lot, then you might as well group, because otherwise the opponent might find a way into the game. And just look at that damage. That is absolutely disgusting. And another crit right into that finisher with the ultimate. Like, it's super easy to execute as well, and you're going to have a lot of fun, especially if they have a squishy team. Like, in this case, this is probably the worst case scenario where they have a lot of tanks. But even here, it ended up working really well. So definitely try it out, guys, and let me know if it works out for you. Because personally, I think this is really fun, and way more fun than the Bruiser Garen that I find really boring. I want to have damage, and that is what this build gives me. So SS Reaver, next item, get 80, crit, ability haste, and also that passive. We don't care about the mana. And it also doesn't matter because we get the Sheen passive. That works for the Q. As I said, a lot more bonus damage. So right now, I can one-shot a Lux with a Q. Or an auto attack at a Q. Maybe I won't need the auto attack. But that's the amount of damage that we have right now. Of course, I'm also insanely fed. I have a big XP and gold lead. But like, even if Lux was level 15 and she had the same amount of gold, as long as we were able to get on top of her, we're gonna one-shot her. And just look at this. How fun is this? And I can guarantee you that people are gonna tilt so hard. Like, they'll be extremely mad, and they never expect this. Like, Gale Force is really the big game changer, because you get that gap closer. That's what's super important with this build. Like, people also went crit Garen before, like years ago, but they did not have access to the Gale Force, and that is really that one item that makes all the difference. So we got the bottom side right here, and then we can keep pushing. We can also group. Like, with this build, you prefer that you cam in the bush somewhere. For example, when they come to take the Drake, then you can just cam, one-shot the jungler, and then get out. There's like one item left for us to buy. Most of the time, you can get the Mortal Reminder. If you need the anti-healing, then you get the Executioners early on, and you can upgrade it later. Or if you need the tankiness, you don't want to buy HP, but you can get the Death Stance. Like, that item is so OP. Because they made it so it works against physical and magic damage right now. So that actually makes you extremely tanky without having a lot of HP. But there's really low counterplay, almost no counterplay actually. And I would say no counterplay if you get to Q somebody. And you will most of the time, thanks to the Gale Force. But this was the Garen build. Definitely recommend you guys to try it out. Thanks for watching, guys, and see y'all next time.